Joe with Joe's Modz Garage with Engine Horsepower TV, and I found a great little tool. It's pretty cost effective. I picked this up online. It's a Ryobi Impact. It's got 3 different settings. The highest, then it's got the next setting, and then the lowest setting. It's rated at 300 foot-pounds of torque. I thought this thing would be kind of a joke, but this thing works. I have a lot of Ryobi tools, so I got extra batteries. I got this, came with a bag and a charger and a 4-amp battery for 150 bucks. You know, you get a Milwaukee or a Snap-on, you're going to spend a lot more money, 4 or 5. I think the Snap-on's like $800–900. It might not have the power of that, but it's not as heavy, and it'll get most of the jobs done. And I'll show you, I'm going to impact this truck. What I like about it too is the light. These lights come on when you hit the trigger, and they automatically go off. Just like that. Hit it a little bit, they come on, give it a second, and then they go off. So you can see what you're doing. See? I mean, this is a great little tool. I mean, I'd put this in, be a great tool to put in your vehicle. You know, if you're not into wrenching a lot, but just have it around the house, you need to change a flat, it would be a great tool for that. So I'm going to show on this heavy-duty truck, impacting a couple lug nuts off and on, and I'll show you how well it works. And then I'll show you, when I first got this, I took off, this truck is 32 lug nuts, and then I have a truck over there, it's got 32 lug nuts. So 64 lug nuts, okay, and they were rusted. And out of the 64, I couldn't get 2 off. The only downside of this is when you're doing something constantly with this, for a long period of time, one right after the other, it gets extremely hot. It's not like where an ear tool, you can keep going and you have the air running through it, which actually cools the impact. This one, it doesn't. It gets hot if you continuously use it. But other than that, the thing works great. It works flawlessly. I've been using it on taking a motor out on a truck, rusted bolts, engine mounts, and it's taking them all off. So let me show you this, and then I'll show you the lug nuts that I took off and replaced, and I'll show you the other truck. So take it for what you want, but for the money, for 150 bucks, you got an impact that'll do most jobs that you need it to do. Takes them off, no problem. They get a breaker bar, and then I'll show you how tight these things are. Alright, so I'm going to impact these down, and then I'm going to undo it with a breaker bar. So it tightens them down good and tight. Yep. And you can't beat it for the money. So I'm going to show you, I impact this one down. Yeah, you don't really move it. Plenty tight. This truck, I'm pulling the motor. I pulled the motor out on, and I used it for taking all the bolts off. Took them all off. No problem. And then this is the other truck. I took those rims off this truck, and the rims, these rims I put on here. And I'll show you the lug nuts. Alright, so since I was so impressed, and I have a bunch of Ryobi stuff. I've been impressed with it. I've been renovating a house. I've dropped them from the second floor into mud and on rocks, and like eventually they wore out, but for the money you can't beat it. These things, you know, you got batteries that you can interchange. If you buy a Milwaukee or a different Impact, you got to buy batteries, and usually the batteries are expensive. So I mean, for 150 bucks and you get a 4 amp hour battery, and I have several different batteries, so I got extra ones. You can't beat it for the money. I was so impressed with it. I already had this one, and you can change out the bit, 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch you can put on here, or put a screw gun on here. And this actually comes in handy, because I bought the 3/8 because I was so impressed with it. And the 3/8 isn't bad. It's not, you know, it's not a total torque monster, but it does a job, you know. But so I bought the 3/8. But what's nice about having this is that in tight spaces, I had some tight spaces where I used a 1/4 inch, so you just get a little adapter. And then if I need to screw some screws in, well, then I just do that, pop in the screw. Yeah, so I wanted to show you the lug nuts I took off. And, well, this bolt, look at this bolt. Look how rusty that is. That was an engine mount bolt. That 1/2 inch Impact took that off, no problem. Look at these bolts, these lug nuts. You can tell they've been old. There's rust inside as well as on outside. It took, out of 64 lug nuts, it took 62 off. And then it was starting to get too hot. So, I mean, for the money, you can't beat this Impact. 150 bucks, get a 4 amp hour battery, you get a charger with it, and a case. So like, subscribe, join us next time in the garage on Engine and Horsepower TV at Joe's Modz Garage.